All right, I think you can get started, Avisha.
Okay, hello everyone and welcome to our presentation. I just leave the floor to Dr. Murad. He will start the presentation on how we did align our curriculum to the industry needs, and then I will continue on. So Dr. Murad, here you go.
Thank you. Welcome everybody. As Avisha said, that we're going to cover the concept of market skills and market needs. One of the problems we faced in higher education is how do we determine whether or not we're meeting our stakeholders in industry. And so we've kind of developed a methodology using market analysis, what you might use in a company or something else to understand your customer, and then break that down into a way of evaluating courses and how I'm evaluating curriculum. So I don't know if anyone's ever done it this way before, but I haven't seen anything out there when we were looking through the literature search. So we're hoping that this will be highly relevant and helpful for not only our university, but maybe perhaps others as well. So we wanted to partner with and make more connections with industry. We are a business school. One of our ultimate stakeholders is the industries which we prepare students for. We conducted a market analysis of the skills of those industries, and we broke those down based upon, and we'll explain how that happened in the near future, a couple slides down the road. But we were able to break that down to technical skills and broad skills and career skills. Technical skills being, those things that we learn on an everyday basis that allows us to use databases and those types of things, which is a call for that because of the higher change in technology that has increased over the last couple of decades. Broad skills are those kind of skills you can apply across multiple sort of work environments. And then career skills are those things that you might use to sell yourself, find new jobs, maybe have certain personality traits that allow you to advance in your careers. So the benefits of our study is that we're helping to make ready-made marketing graduates. We're serving industry needs and employers' expectations. If somebody can come to us and say, hey, how are you serving industry? How are you preparing graduates? We can show them through this method that we are doing that. And I'm not sure anybody would have much better than this. Methodology for curriculum development and curriculum improvements. Next slide, please. So obviously we have to collect some data to do this market analysis. And one of the best ways to do that is to triangulate. So if I'm going to conduct a market research study, I have a company, I want to understand what my customers and my stakeholders want. I'm going to have to go out into the data, into the world. And there's multiple ways you can do this. You can do this from literature reviews. You can poll your students. You can look at student demographics. You can look at focus groups. You can call people in and ask their opinion, just like a company. There's really no difference other than we are selling ideas, education and training, and the ability to actually function within the work environment, right? And a higher level of cognitive function. So we can look in these different areas for the data, but the biggest thing is that you want to be able to triangulate so that you're not pulling data from one source. And we do that in higher education all the time. We ask our professors, or we rely on just a couple of large industry surveys, or we only rely on, let's say, our accreditors. And we're not pulling enough information from the market to make a well-rounded view of what our industry stakeholders want. So obviously, as you do triangulation, the validity of the research goes up, the validity of your results goes up, but also, kind of the depth of it goes up. It's more credible when you can pull from multiple sources and multiple pieces of information. So we kind of group those, as you can tell, just for our mental sake and being able to kind of organize all of this information. So we have those, we just covered those in a second, but we have all of those different sections. Next slide, please. So, and we broke all of them down into this. So even though we grouped them, ultimately there's many ways to pull information. And this is not a full list. If you were going through your program and you were trying to say, hey, how do we ensure that our graduates actually have the skills in a way that is pretty hard to argue against? We would have to go to the market. But each program and each person could think of different ways of collecting that data and that information. For one, you know, maybe we're really good in this organization of staying in contact with our professors, and we can pull them and gain out. That would be one point of data. Another university might not have that ability to do that. So they might want to compare their program with other universities and pull that data. But they're going to want to pull multiple pieces of data. And obviously, the more you pull from the more places, the better off your analysis is overall. But you can't always do that at one time in one place. Next slide, please. And so, and you can see how we move this to the top where we have advisory councils. This is what we used so far. We have other things that we're doing too to pull more information. But we have advisory councils. And if you're not from this university, there are people that we pull from industry that are, you know, well known within their industry, and they give us lots of great knowledge and information. And sometimes we can ask them what they need from us, and those kind of almost like a focus group. One of the best ways is to look at existing research studies. So in our case, we looked at larger scale studies that were used in higher education, but specifically for marketing. We didn't go out there and look at stuff that was not related specifically to marketing, because obviously in higher education, there's lots and lots of studies about what graduates should be getting. And that's great. And you can include that in your analysis. But in ours, we wanted to make it very specific and very focused on marketing graduates. You have alumni groups, you have corporate stakeholders, you have survey studies, you have your accreditors. Like, we want to go through our accreditors and kind of look at what we found there and what they want, and so that we can kind of mesh their needs with ours for the next time we go through an evaluation. We want to look at our faculty forums. We conduct faculty forums all the time. We might want to even look at some of our student demographics and that type of information to see if there's something we can pull from that. Because obviously, as we design our curriculum, if we pull heavy from one demographic, we'll have a little more knowledge of what types of things need to be covered to bring those students from point A to point Z, where they're healthy and happily employed, right? So there's just going to be different vantage points depending on those demographics. And then you can see where we broke it down into technical, on the left-hand side where it's blue and yellow and green, you can see where we broke it down into the technical skills, the broad skills, and the career skills. And we have the concepts that we got from our research. We got the concepts from our research, and when we put an X where we found that knowledge from, where it fit with that knowledge. And so as we go through and we add alumni groups, we might put X's there. It doesn't mean we're going to do all these things, by the way. We're just saying that these are options for us to do. Next slide, please.
Okay, thank you, Murad. So how we did use this information to evaluate our program? We took our BA in Marketing program, and in this program, we have 15 courses. And you can see the list of courses right here. So each course, each undergraduate course in our school has 5 weeks. And each week, students need to post and participate in at least 2 discussion forums and 1 assignment, 1 written assignment. So we created this table, as you can see here, for every single course and lined up all the deliverable activities there. And then assessed every single activity based on these 21 skills that we collected from different resources. And then when we decide if that activity is addressing or is helping the student to practice that skill dominantly, which we gave it a D, or as a supporting concept, which we gave it an S. So this is an example that you see for a capstone course, Marketing Capstone course. And you can see that, for example, the digital or social media has 4 S's and 3 D's. And for instance, in week 1, DQ1, digital and social media, analytical skills, and determination got an S. And for DQ2, marketing and web analytics, creativity, and adaptability got an S. And social media, social and digital media got a D. So just to give you an example of how we did this, to better understand this, I put the exact verbiage of DQ1 and DQ2. And as you can see in DQ1, the students need to just watch a video that talks about value creation. But this video also talks about some social media tactics in creating value for customers. So while the focus of this assignment is on value creation and the students need to talk and discuss that, they also learn about the social media tactics. And that's why social or digital media skill got an S. And since they have to do some analysis based on the video and then apply it to some of the marketing concepts, the analytical skills got an S. And then since it was an entrepreneur that developed such an innovative marketing skill for her chocolate company, we thought that determination and motivation also gets an S. And this is the DQ2. DQ2 is actually about a video that the students need to see. And it talks about the very innovative social marketing campaign that a specialized bicycle company used to find its market and really get successful in its market. So because of that, because it's a direct practice for this skill, social marketing or social media skill got an D, and also creativity, adaptability, and marketing analytics are part of the video, or the components of the video, which got an S in this assignment. So we basically did this analysis for every single activity of every course. And to stay objective in our analysis, we defined every skill and really stuck to this definition when we were judging and labeling our assignments, because we are a group of 3 and we kind of splitted the courses to do the evaluation. So we wanted to make sure that everybody is on the same page. So here is the list of definitions of these 21 skills. And let's see some of the results. After we have done all of the evaluations, we counted all the D's and all the S's for every skill. So in this dark orange column, you see all the dominant aspect of those skills, and in the light orange column, you see the results for the supporting or the S of those skills that were met in these courses. And now let's analyze it. Let's see what these D's and S's tell us. We thought that we have 15 courses in the BAM program. If we meet every skill, one says dominant and one says supporting in every single course, that's going to be twice in every course. So it's going to be 30 times of practice for that skill. And yesterday we also talked that 30 is a good number, that a concept becomes a habit. So that was an interesting thing. So we thought that 30 is a good estimation to learn a skill. So here is the 30 line, the line that gives us a good estimation to learn a skill. And based on this line, we really see that verbal skills and time management skill are those skills that haven't been addressed, as much as needed in our curriculum. So we need some improvements, especially on the verbal skills. Obviously, we are an purely online program, and most of our assignments are written. So we need to have that in mind, that students also need to work on their verbal skills. Same thing about time management. Just a good, probably good point to start is that, so right now we are 11 on verbal skills, so at least we need to include it in 19 other assignments, as a D or as an S, to make it 30 and really help the students practice their verbal ability. Another section that needs to be considered in our course improvement were Microsoft Office suite negotiation, job hiring, and specialized writing skills that are over 30 but not way over 30. And I just wanted to mention 2 points about these group. Microsoft Office suite, so the default for us was that the students are masters of using Microsoft Word and Microsoft PowerPoint because we use that in several assignments. So here we mean by Microsoft Office, we have more emphasis on other softwares other than Word and PowerPoint, like Microsoft Excel, Microsoft Access, OneNote, Outlook, and all that. And also for the specialized writing skills, we meant that these are all business writing. We really focused on how to learn business writing. And we know that we have different types of business documents. We have practice using an executive summary or business report, but we don't have a practice on business memos or a PR piece or some other types of business documents. So here we mean that we have to really focus on other types of business writing so that the students get practice in various aspects of writing a business piece. But you may ask why these two high numbers tell us, why these two numbers are so high. What we realized is that we may have used the same format for designing our assignments over and over. We are an online school. It is acceptable and even beneficial to have a consistent standard format to design assignments. But at the same time, we should remember that we need another format. We need various ways of designing assignments and activities so that the students become engaged. Another thing is that in designing assignments, we don't need to stick with labels. We don't need to say, okay, let's go and design a negotiation assignment. We can use the methodology as a supporting activity for that assignment and let the students practice 2 or multiple skills at the same time. So these were good points to remember for our curriculum improvement.
Avisha, can I interject a little bit on that one? On that last slide, we could go back. So also it's important because when we look at these results, it gives us a way of sort of navigating mentally what things we can improve on and what things we can't improve on, or what things we may have difficulty improve on. So I was going to mention the point that we have, because of perhaps when we look at it, this is what we see, that we're using the same problem formation over and over, and we always need to solve a problem. One thing we can consider is not solving any problems in some of our assignments, but just exploring how to use something. And then that might be able to tie into other skills. We may be able to tie other dominant skills into it, allowing us to canvas some of those weaker areas. That's what I wanted to say. Thank you.
Yeah. And just to give you a summary of what we talked, we started with this idea that we really need to meet our stakeholders' needs. We really want our graduates to be career ready. Once they are graduated and out of school, they will be able to find a job, their dream job. So based on that, we conducted market analysis. We reviewed the literature, we talked with our advisory council members, and we surveyed our faculty members to just, from different perspectives, see what skills they think is needed for a marketing graduate. And then based on that, we assessed our BA in marketing curriculum. And as you see, we came up with some interesting results that we're going to implement into our courses and curriculum. But we need to continue to add to the list of skills from different resources for data triangulation and validity. And we think that this is an effective framework because it really does incorporate viewpoints of different sources from the target audience that for us are adult learners, We incorporated our stakeholders' expectations, the industry and employers, and also we will add the accreditors' expectations into the design. And this framework has a very straightforward and easy methodology that every program, an accounting program, a psychology program, can just adopt it for themselves, just use the same methodology, come up with their own list of skills, and then evaluate the program based on those skills. I just wanted to briefly introduce the Forbes School of Business Marketing team. We are a team of 3. Dr. Debo, he is also on the line, Dr. Murad, who talked to you, and myself. And we have 3 programs, 3 undergraduate programs right now at the Forbes School of Business. The BAM program is the most recent one, is the most comprehensive one that has social, mobile, digital, and marketing analytics in it. And we wanted to really focus on this program to make it even better. But we also have a program in public relations and marketing and e-marketing. And very soon we will launch our graduate program in marketing. So thank you so much for your attention. And please, if there's any question or answers, we are happy to answer them.
Any questions for Avisha?
Very nice presentation, thank you. Is there a way to check for any plagiarism? Like if 2 students have the same skills set, then you can detect, hey, these are copying the assignments, the submissions. Then you might find a trend, or maybe there's 2 students that are having the same postings, maybe a little different, but
yes, well,
just
actually,
to catch.
In our courses, we use Turnitin as a way that the instructor can submit the student's assignment in Turnitin, and Turnitin is a huge pool of all the assignments, so they can check for the similarity score. And
So they're electronic rubrics, correct? So
yes,
Waypoint is electronic rubrics that are used by the faculty when assessing student work.
And it's tied to Turnitin. So at the same time that we are grading the papers, we can see how similar this paper is to other paper from the same classroom, or from the classroom previous to this classroom, or even from papers from other universities, because students may have friends elsewhere. And this is a very helpful tool, especially for online schools.
Thank you.
Can I try and answer that question from a slightly different angle? So Turnitin is our system that calculates the matching of words together, but there's a way, and I'm going to just add to your question here. If I read this question correctly, is there a way to determine how well a student learns specific skills? That is also possible, because you can, through this method that we use for analysis, right? We can determine how many times, whether it's dominant or sub, but you could easily go back to any one of those discussion questions and and look into it and determine how well any particular student did learning that concept, right? They got an A, they got a B, they got a 70% and 80%. So it is possible to actually go back, determine the amount that students actually learn the skill. And if we were really super sophisticated, we might be able to individualize that education for students down the road.
Quickly, I think we're running out of time. I just quickly want to add that we have our names and email address, and we're also linking. So by the end of this presentation, if you have any questions for either Dr. Murad, myself, or Dr. Avisha, please feel free to connect with us through our email addresses on the screen before, which is what you are looking at right now. Okay? We'll be glad to hear from you in case we don't have time to answer all your questions. This is Dr. Kipo.
I guess we can quickly get one
okay,
question.
one question on the skill set. I think it's a very good idea. I think like to hear about the limitation on oral skills, speaking skills in an online environment. I think that can well connect to negotiating skills. And I would be concerned that you not oversell, that someone say, oh, I've got skills in negotiating, I took this online course. That's not how it works in the real world, right? I mean, you're going to be mentored in corporate, and you're not going to be negotiating on behalf of your division just because you've got this. And so it's a higher order skill. You know, we do professional selling face-to-face 15 weeks, role playing, the whole thing, and we still don't say that you know how to negotiate at the end. So I'm just, my point is our concern is don't oversell the skills just because you're checking off boxes.
Yeah, and let me add to that. I did labor relations and negotiations with the against, I guess, the UAW Unite here in Detroit area. I did labor relations before this. So I will say you're right. There's a lot of skills that go into negotiation, right? You've got to have verbal skills. You got to have confidence. You've got to have presentation skills. You got to have analytical skills. You got to be able to go back and research topics to find out and get an answer quickly, especially in, negotiations. If you know anything about the Detroit areas, that is a heavily unionized area. So, but in any educational system, you're going to have to build the building blocks to learn that final skill, but you have to be in the workplace to actually test it. Now, you might be able to, just like in a regular course or a ground-based course, you're going to sit in front of your classmates and you're going to practice that skill. Online education is developing and growing. We have, implementing things like teamwork, groups, and those types of things. It is possible with today's technology that you could video record or teleconference and practice some of those skills, but it would never be exactly the same as what you would get in a real, under stress workplace. That might be left to industry, right? To take it to that next level and mentor and shadow you into it. Because I know when I did labor relations, I was scared to death the first time I walked into a negotiation room. And I know that 4 years later, wasn't so bad. I kind of understood how it worked. But that was a great question, though. Thank you.